Hello, amazing artists. Great to see everyone here today at Art. So, today, remember, we are going to be working on the backgrounds of our self portraits. Last week, we looked at the art and the portraits of Frida Kahlo, and we talked about our own self portraits. We used our zoom cameras or a mirror to look at ourselves and check out all the details of our faces, and we talked about what clothes we wanted to have on in our self portrait. Do we want to represent something from our culture? Do we want to represent our favorite sports team? For example, I got my Warriors gear on today. What do we want to represent? What is a part of us that we want to show in our self portrait? What's important to us? We've been talking a lot this year about the things that are important to us. So, how can we show that in our artwork through our self portraits? We also learned last week that Frida Kahlo, she experienced a lot of pain in her life, and she used her paintings as a way to express that pain and to get it out of her body and onto the paper. Sometimes that can be healing. So as we think about our backgrounds today, I want you to think too about what is important to you and what do you want to express. There's no wrong way to do this. All your ideas are great. Let's take a look again at some of the works of Frida Kahlo and try to think about what type of background we might want to create for our work. All right, so we have this painting right here. So we notice in the background of this painting of hers, there's the monkey, and there's a lot of natural life as well, right? We see nature in the background behind her, and there's a lot of texture in the leaves. So let's see another one of her works as well to what else we might notice. Now this one is a lot darker. You notice there's some shapes and patterns behind her that might even be right here, what looks like a cloud or something like that. It looks completely different to me than the one before that, right? Where we saw her with the monkeys and nature. So depending on the background that you put behind your piece, it's gonna change the way your piece feels. Now, this one that we see here, it looks like there's some kind of letter of something that might be significant to her in this piece, and that's maybe why she chose to add it in. I'm not as familiar with this piece, so I'm not sure. But that's another way of adding something that's important to you. As we continue to look. Again, another one that features the monkeys, right? And a lot of nature. Something that we see throughout her work in different pieces. This one, right here we see the butterfly, the parrot on her shoulder. There's also some caterpillars and different insects here. Now, some people say, because we have talked about how Frida was in pain a lot of her life, that the butterfly also represents transformation. So the ability to change, right? You come from a caterpillar and you move through and you become this beautiful butterfly. So those are some great examples that we can see the background of in Frida Kahlo's work. And if you notice, the whole background is full. So even if she has the nature here, you see behind these leaves, the sky is painted and it creates a very vivid, bright image. And it makes her face also stand out as well. We go back in time to this one at the beginning here. Similar again, right? But you notice over here in this area, there's some different roots or different things that are coming up, like something's almost growing in that image. So artists, think today, right? You're gonna go back and you're going to get your self-portrait from last week that we started that should be safe in your art spot. And we're gonna be adding our backgrounds. And I want you to think about in your background, what is important to you? We saw that piece where she had the letter or something written on the wall. Do you want to include something like that with text? Do you want to include something like nature behind you? Do you want to include some of the special places in your life? What are the things that you want to be surrounded by in your portrait? And just to be clear, so the background, like if you looked at me right now, if this screen that you see was my self-portrait, these would be my clothes that represent something important to me. my Warriors gear, my team that's from the Bay Area. Then you would notice behind me is the chair. Over here, you see my paints, my paintbrushes. That's something that's really important. And then above me is some of my other paintings. So that's actually what's behind me. That's the background behind me. Now, when you do your drawing, what is going to be the background behind you? You could put some of those important things in, like I have my paintings here or my paintbrushes there. Or you could create something from your imagination. Or you could create something like she had, the letter of significance. It is totally up to you. Think about what you want to create, put your backgrounds in, upload it on Seesaw, and then keep it nice and safe because we're creating those itty bitty bio books about ourselves. And this portrait is one of those wonderful pages. So I look forward to seeing your portraits. Have a great rest of your week. And remember, all right, see you real soon, artists.